Hey, ambassadors, welcome to today's edition of What's on My Mind. And here we go. When do you believe what you believe? I'll ask again. When do you believe what you believe? We'll get to that in a second. First, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to you about Romans 4, specifically Romans 4:16, where it says, the promise depends on faith, so that the promise can be experienced by you and me as a grace gift. Not something we earned, not something we deserve, but just the gift from the Father to us, right? And I went on to say how it talked about Abraham against all odds. When things looked hopeless and he was finally helpless, still he believed the Father. He believed the promise. He expected the Father to do what he said he was going to do. He took God at his word, right? So the acronym I came up with all that was OBET, like OHHBET, right? Against all odds. Things looked hopeless. He was finally helpless to create a child on his own, but he still believed the Father. B, he still expected the Father to do what he said he was going to do. E, and he just took God at his word. So when do you believe what you believe, right? So I want to thank Manohar over in Frisco, because he said something in our ambassador meeting that was so cool. He said the word has been released. And specifically, he was talking about Mark 4, where Jesus said, let us cross over to the other side. Such a simple statement. But he wasn't just like, hey, hopefully we can cross over. He was declaring what was going to happen. Right? So in a sense, it was his promise. This is where we're going. It's going to happen. But of course, in the middle of the voyage, the storms came up, and Jesus was in the back of the boat asleep. But the disciples were freaking out. Don't you care? We're about to die. And of course, we know Jesus woke up, calmed the storm. And I'll get to what he said in a second. But so here's the thing that, and again, Manohar, thank you for helping me think of this, because it was so cool. I've been meditating on this all week. When do you believe what you believe, right? With the disciples hanging around Jesus all this time, we would think that when he says, let's go to the other side, it was a done deal. It's like, okay. But for us, it's sort of the same thing. Think of a promise that you've been holding on to. When do you believe that promise? Is it when you see it, or is it right at this moment where you don't see it? You haven't experienced it, but because he said it, you're going to take him at his word. You're going to expect him to do what he said he's going to do. And in spite of every natural thing, you're going to believe him, right? Which is Teb. Anyway, so here's the thing. When do you believe what you believe, right? And as I was meditating on this, I just kept rereading Mark 4 in this whole scripture. And it's so cool, because imagine if we believe the moment we read the promise. When we know that promise is for us, we read it, we believe it, we said, okay, it's going to happen. I don't know when, but it's going to happen, right? We'll get there. And what's cool is Jesus had a specific reason for going across the lake, because that's when he was going to encounter the demoniac and free him from the demonic possession, right? So in a sense for us, he also has a purpose for that promise. The one he's given to you, the one he's given to me, he has a purpose for that promise. And I've heard this phrase that I really like. It's like the Lord talking to us. If you make me the Lord of your destination, I will get you there. And another phrase I heard is that the promises are the Lord's love language with us, right? So if you want to know the love language of the Lord, read a promise that he's made to you, and just know that's his love for you in that promise. And so here's how it relates to that scripture, right? The storms came up. The storms came up. And I don't know about you, but sometimes for me, and this week has been one of them, that as I'm focused on the destination or the promise, right, which is good, right? The Lord said we're going to get there. The storms have come up, and the storms come up to distract me from the destination, which is his promise, right? So here's the way I started to see it. It's like his promise goes ahead to make a way where there is no way, or to make a way where I don't see the way, right? It's his wisdom going ahead of it. But Jesus being asleep in the back of the boat is grace and truth being our rear guard, right? So I think, how cool would it have been if the disciples in the midst of the storm had said, you know what, we're going to go hang on to Jesus and go to sleep just like him. And I just picture that they would have gone to sleep. And then when they awoke, they would have been at their destination. They would have been rested. They would have been peaceful. They would have been hanging on to Jesus, I'm sure, for life. But they would have been there. So here's my encouragement to me, and I hope it encourages you, that as I hold on to a promise of the Lord, I'm declaring that's his destination for me. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know when I'm going to get there. So I'm going to head back to the back of the boat. I'm going to cling to Jesus, sometimes desperately, right? And sometimes a little more loosely. But cling to him and just say, okay, Lord, if you said it's going to happen, I'm going to believe you. I'm going to expect you to make that happen. And I'm just going to take you at your word. So that's where I am right now with the promises, right? It's just, I'm choosing to believe them right now. My beloved ambassadors, I don't see them. I'm looking for them. I'm expecting them. But just because I don't see them, just because they haven't manifested, I'm still going to believe right now. And I hope that you are encouraged to take that promise, right? And know that, like Manohar said, it's the word has been released. The word has been released and it will not return void, right? So my friends, stay encouraged. Stay with your eyes on the Lord. And if the storms are coming up, run to the back of the boat and go to sleep. Be at rest and be at peace, right? All right, guys, this one went a little bit longer. Thanks for bearing with me. And this Sunday, end of June, last Sunday in June, I'm going to be hanging out at NRH. Yeah, so Frisco, have fun. Remember the lean-in is tomorrow morning. Today is Friday. Lean-in is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on Saturday the 25th. June 25th, right? I love you guys. Be blessed. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.